Good morning, everybody. It is May 26th, a little after 5 in the morning. When I woke up this morning, instantly I knew that it was important that as a society we start taking a serious look at mental health and our mental health care system because we have a major problem. And I believe that we're addressing it from the wrong direction, if you will. So this morning, I would like to discuss mental health because it's so important. You know, the basis of our mental health system kind of guides and directs our society as a whole. Um, Realize that, and all this information I'm using, I pull offline. I know you guys are going to think of the negative. Oh, well, everything's online. No, I'm going to credible, well, what we consider credible sites, official, mental health sites, like the Benton County Mental Health, Division, or Harvard Reports, or so on. So I am not just pulling from one source, I'm pulling from multiple sources. And these are not based off of my opinion, these are based off of professional psychiatrists and mental health counselors. Um, Now, when we stop and think about America, realize that approximately 1 in 5 Americans have mental health issues. Do your research yourself, don't take my word for it, and you'll see that is true. 1 in 5. Think about it. Look at your workspace. If you have 5 people in your workspace, I guarantee you know right away who has mental health issues. Now stop and think about it. Out of the 5 people, you have figured out who has mental health issues. Now realize, in order for you to figure out who has mental health issues, you have to judge each person. All of our Bibles, everything tells us nobody has the right to judge. But yet we judge when really we're unqualified to. Realize more women deal with depression than men do. Now let's think about that from a logical perspective. We all know that women tend to be more emotional than men. Well, I mean, hey, a woman is the one who gives birth to children. They have to be more intuitive. They have to pick up on more vibrations out of danger to protect their young. So, of course, it makes more sense that being more in tune to the different vibrations, the negative vibrations, that they're going to tend to get more overloaded due to picking up on all these negative vibrations. Now let's, think about depression. Depression, well, the truth is, we're obsessing on the negative. We're having a hard time recognizing the positive in life because all we keep thinking about is the negative. Makes sense, right? 25% of young adults have contemplated suicide. Stop and think about that. 25% of young adults. 25% of the future of our society has contemplated ceasing to exist. if that isn't a huge concern, then what is? Oh, compounding negativity from generation to generation. You know, let's take your Bibles, for example. Notice that each time the Bible is rewritten, there's more negativity added. There's more guilt added. It pushes you further away from being one with your inner self, one with the God within you. Makes sense, right? But so what do we do as a society? We start increasing psychotropic drugs that we prescribe. Those of you who've tried the different ones, every single psychiatrist out there knows good and well, it's like throwing a dart at a dartboard. You have no clue exactly how a client's brain is going to respond to the different psychotropic drugs. Therefore, you are playing God, not having a clue what's going to happen when you prescribe these chemicals that affect your client's brain. I know you're doing it, you in your heart, you think you're doing the right thing. But the truth is, you're not conscious. Therefore, you technically are like the blind leading the blind. Now, that term, anybody who is blind that might be listening, I know that you potentially could see that as negative towards you, even that comment. But I assure you, my blind friends, you're better off. Because you're not exposed to a huge source of negative influence that those of us who see are. Just like you take a deaf person. I love you guys. Chances are you're probably not one of my listeners. Hopefully you're one of my viewers. But a deaf person, imagine that. If you can't hear, there goes a huge source of negative vibrations entering your brain. Listen to society, listen to TV, listen to everything. Such a huge percentage of sound, talking, communication, this day and age is negative. And negative are lies. Negative are you feeling sorry for yourself. Positive is love. Positive is the only truth. Love comes from you and your God. Negativity doesn't come from you and your God. So, here we have mental health. Let's call mental health obsessing on the negative. So let's take a look at the system that, fixes mental health, diagnoses mental health, says how a human should be viewed by society, how a human should interact in society. But realize 81% of psychologists have diagnosed psychiatric disorders. Look it up, give or take a few percentage. I'm sure different websites will say different things. Now, I understand, hey, you psychologists and psychiatrists and all you counselors, I understand that you have gone through severe trauma in your life. That majority of you, the reason why you chose to do your profession is because you don't want others to experience what you experienced. You feel you've made it through your issues and you want to help other people make it through their issues. That's very honorable, and I love you for thinking that way. There's just one little lie in that way of thinking. You are hypersensitive to the negativity in the world. You've been so exposed to it over and over and over again that even though the average human's looking at negativity first, you're like hyper aware of it. Therefore, it jumps out the quickest and you notice it the most and address it the most. So let's think about that. 81% of counselors, mental health professionals have diagnosable psychiatric disorders. 81%. Now, in early 2000, I worked as a funeral director and a mortician. And one of the last experiences that I had as that was the head mental health counselor from Benton County Mental Health. Unfortunately, she committed suicide, and I had to go to her residence and help, bring her to her final resting place. When I walked into her home, it was all plasticed off. She had put a trash can in the middle of the room. She put plastic all around the area. I could feel, as soon as I walked into her home, I could feel her pain. I could see that she cleaned her house before she did this. She was more concerned about the mess that it would make than it was about her soul ceasing to exist. This person had dedicated her life to helping others not do what she had done. People, we have to step back and we have to realize how backwards we are addressing everything. Quantum physics, negative mirror image of the positive mirror image. You are living the negative mirror image until you gain your consciousness. The positive mirror image is you with your God, only accepting the truth, only accepting the love. But now, mental health counselors are on the far extreme negative view because they've been around it their entire life. What I would like to do is use an example of this, of what I've talked about so far here. How mental health counselors, the people who decide, a lot of our fates, obsess on the negative and don't even acknowledge the positive. Now, granted, the 19% of counselors out there that don't have diagnosable mental health issues, I bet you anything, a large portion of them are doing what I call, and it might even be the official name, of happy life counseling. I mean, let's stop and think about that. Is that not the direction we should be going in, how to gain happiness, because happiness is the transition towards peace. Happiness is you moving in the direction towards the positive, moving away from the negative. Right? Very logical. So, I had started showing this earlier, but I received a phone call about my solar panels, and by the way, yesterday I have about 10,000 kilowatt hours of battery now, smart battery. So literally I don't have to do anything. So I'm going to be able to help the homeless so much. They'll be even able to cook off my griddle on solar, charge their phones, anything. To me, that feels amazing. That was the wisest money I spent. Granted, that was about $9,000 just to store energy. Huge investment. So here we go. I want to show you guys this again, and I'm sorry that it's not the easiest thing to pull off. Hey, I'm not obsessing on the look or obsessing on the technical of all this stuff. What I am directing all my energy on is helping as quickly as I can. I can't force you to listen to me. All I can do is give you the opportunity. It's your choice whether or not to listen. So, if you care, if you do not want to be depressed, if you want to help fix the mental health system, take the time when I show you something that might be a little blurry. Take the time. Stop the video. Zoom in on it. Read it. Because sure, could I spend a lot of time making sure everything's perfectly clear, making sure I don't have a booger hanging out of my nose or snot running down? Yeah, I could. But all that time I waste obsessing on the negative that you might view, there's a good chance somebody in the world is not going to have the opportunity to make the choice to gain their consciousness, to be one with their God. And you know what? That's not a chance I'm willing to take. So here we go. Please stop and read this. This is what I gave to Corvallis Police Department. Tried to get it to Benton County Mental Health so that because granted, they're the ones who decide whether or not I am mentally ill, whether or not I'm suicidal, whether or not I would harm anybody, whether or not, let's just say, they play God. Because, as you can see by my documentary up to this point, when they stumble, they destroy lives. Kind of like a person who packs a parachute. In the Marine Corps, I saw parachute packers, their t-shirts say, "We bury our mistakes." Well, guess what? My documentary proves that so does the mental health system. That's why not a single one of them has retracted the lies that they have put in my file. Not a single one of them has apologized to me for their mix-up. Not a single one of them has even stepped back and realized, oh my God, I was only looking at the negative. I only stated all the negativity. I didn't state any of the positivity that Trent had stated. Plain and simple. The reason why I recorded everything, the reason why I kept my cell phone on audio record as I was heading into the illegal mental health assessment that I was assaulted at, was because, like I said in the beginning of the documentary, I know exactly how this story goes because it's already been written and you guys are writing it. Now, granted, when I was headed to the hospital, I had no clue. I was feeling pure love, pure bliss. I had my oldest daughter, Alexis, who actually had just told me that, and cried as she told me that her and her, now I believe, husband felt that I was the Messiah. And I assured him, I'm not the Messiah, I'm just me. I'm just awake. And I'm just trying to help everybody else gain their consciousness so that you can be one with your God before it's too late. And then I had Ashley, that what I had thought, she had walked away from everything to come marry me because she believed in what I was saying, and that we were going to start creating our version of heaven on earth and truly living in peace. But don't worry, we'll discuss Ashley a lot more. Not because I want to bring negativity towards her, but I am going to purge all her negativity, because once the entire world knows it, you can't even feel sorry for yourself. Nobody even wants to hear it. And I told her before we went to the hospital, I told her, and she agreed, that if she does not have the strength to admit all the negativity, to purge all the lies out of her memory, then I will do it for her, so that she has to feel no pain. And she agreed. She hugged me. She told me she loved me, and that she believed in me. And I'm a man of my word. So we will be doing that, but not today. But once again, this is how to understand how consciousness finds the errors in the mental health system. Okay, pure transparency, TMI, I know on certain things, but this is the only thing that, prior to this extreme explosion of drama that Benton County mental health system had created, the only thing they had on me was I had went in, let's see, oh, come on camera, please, cooperate with me. Anyway, what this is it's when I went in, let's see, all the way back in, where's the date on this? Anyways, all the way back in 2010 was the only interaction that they'd ever had with me. And it was because I was starting a new relationship and I wanted to make sure I hadn't had any STDs. And I refused to have sex with my new partner until I knew that I didn't have an STD. Very honorable, very positive. That's what all of us should do, right? Okay. So the only thing Benton County Mental Health Services knew of me was that at least I was morally correct enough to not take a risk on giving an STD to someone else. Okay. Now we move to March 5th of 2023, when Andrew Sheldon, oh, there we go. I think now you guys are going to be able to stop the video and see. So please take the time, look at the first page I just showed you that gives you the directions on what each color means. And as I'm going along here, I will help you understand. Orange represents the things that have been indicated that everything is based off a lie, or that simple representation of my level of consciousness. Red, lies that cannot be backed up with any evidence. These are counselors that are literally putting lies in my record. And they have zero, absolutely zero evidence to back it up. It's just them pulling it out of their booty. Green is my raw 100% truth. within my consciousness. In other words, the truth between me and my God, the only one absolute truth. Orange and red, the professionals should have looked at the positive and not have been only looking to confirm the negative, to confirm the lie. All they were doing was looking at a way to confirm the lie, not looking for the positive, not giving me the benefit of the doubt that, hey, this client is telling the truth. Even though from the very beginning I said I'm full spectrum conscious. Even though from the very beginning I said I would never harm myself nor anybody else. But they were so obsessed on finding the negative. Well, it makes sense, right? What I had said. 81% have diagnosable mental disorders. Their brain obsesses on the negative. The blind leading the blind. Right? And they're deciding your fate. They're deciding the fate of our society. Then we move on to orange and green, the truth within my consciousness on how the professionals should have realized they were seeking a lie and not looking at the positive. These were huge red flags to the professionals that, hey, hello, your education should have woke you up to realize you're going in the wrong direction. You're not being empathetic and listening to the client. Instead, you're listening to somebody that has absolutely nothing to do with me, doesn't know me for shit, but you're just looking to confirm the lie that they're spreading. Uh-oh. Very obvious. Okay, let's move on. So now, March 5th, Andrew Sheldon. By the way, dude, I feel that you have a peaceful soul, brother. When we interacted, I did not feel you were judging me. When I gave you what, has been called the God code, you said that makes perfect sense. Everything I said to you, you were like, yeah, that makes sense. But then when it got to the point of you writing your report, all you did was cover your ass. All you did was justify why harm was being brought towards me. Your report does not say any of the positivity that I said at all. The fact that I'm not willing to accept the negative, only the positive. But hey, let's let the whole world understand how much help all of the mental health system needs, and realize this is a crisis counselor. This is the person that when things are the most intense, when, say, a patient is closest to suicide, this is one of the people, and Dana, that this person's fate is in their hands. And now let's stop and think. When they're obsessing on the negative, how in the world are they helping this person? In all actuality, aren't they harming them? Instead of boosting their mood towards the positive, are you not obsessing on finding the negative, thinking, ooh, yeah, you're going to be able to fix that? Guess what, pals? Your brains, by history of your own life experience, is hypersensitive to the negative, has had issue of recognizing all the positive. My opinion, you guys are the last people that should be trying to help people who are suicidal. Because it should be people that are conscious. It should be people that will help these people understand that, hey, I know your pain. I know what you're feeling. Please recognize that what you're feeling comes from your physical brain. That is not your destiny. That is not your future. The positive, you being one with your God, your entity, your universe, whatever you want to call it, your Satan, I don't care what you call it. Wherever you get your energy, that's what's important. Because you have to love yourself unconditionally, undeservingly. I know you might think, oh, that's easy to say. Well, yeah, it is. So why don't you try looking in the mirror every single morning as soon as you get up and say to yourself, I love you unconditionally, undeservingly. And then remind yourself, in order for you to do that, it also means that you have to love everybody else unconditionally, undeservingly. The pain you feel, you're creating it yourself. Unless somebody's physically hurting you, all the pain you're feeling is self-created out of you feeling sorry for yourself. And your God does not want you to do that, or wherever you get your energy from. So, Andrew, buddy, I do not know if you have seen this or not yet, because, Corvallis Police Department has a really hard time passing on truth. But, Andrew, please stop and take a look and follow the directions of the color coding. But I will do the world a favor and I will help you. So, we start off and it says that how did they arrive to the crisis contact? What immediately preceded the crisis contact? What specific behaviors caused the crisis page? Okay. Well, you didn't even know. What do you put down? In orange, and I highlighted in orange, which represents that it should have been an indicator that everything is based on a lie, or that simple representation of my level of consciousness. It says OMHP, Oregon Medical, blah, blah, blah. You guys figure it out. I don't care. Names irritate the shit out of me. Was paged by Good Samaritan Regional Medical Center Emergency Department requesting an evaluation of Trent. Ooh. Yeah, so this was right after Alexis and Ashley took me to the emergency room when I thought it was to get my international COVID paperwork. And, let me slow it down a little bit and let me explain to you again how that happened. We pulled up Alexis, my eldest daughter, who works in the medical field. She had told me that, oh, yeah, Samaritan has the COVID booth down in the emergency room that makes it nice and quick to where you can get it in and out. And then you and Ashley can start traveling. Well, Alexis said she was going to run into the emergency room, make sure there's no line so that we didn't have to wait. I was feeling peace. I was feeling happy. I'm like, wow, my daughter's changed. She's finally starting to figure it out. So we loop around, and then all of a sudden comes walking out Mary, quite contrary, who happened to be the mental health nurse that a year ago helped me with Ashley when she was experiencing severe psychosis where she kept punching herself in the face and all sorts of things. Well, Mary comes out and she's like, hey, why don't you go ahead and park? Come on in. We got everything ready. I thought she recognized Ashley and I, and she knew I was a good person. So we were getting a little bit of, clout, a little bit of, payback for my dedication to other people. So I park, and Ashley and I are holding hands, and we start walking towards the emergency room to go inside. And then Ashley goes, "Can I hold your arm also?" And she, grabs my arm as she's holding my hand. Something she had never done in the past, year and a half, 2 years. Bing! There turned on a light in my consciousness. And I knew what they were doing. So what I do, I reached down into my pocket and I turned on my recording app, my audio recording app, because I knew what was coming. So we go in the emergency room, and sure as shit, I'm taken straight into the back area, straight into the mental health ward, and stripped down, made to get out of my clothes. But they weren't smart enough to say, "Hey, you can't record." Nope. Not my problem. That's your problem. If you think somebody's mentally ill and you're not even mentally stable enough to say, "Hey, by the way, please shut off your cell phone," then that's your problem. That is not my problem, because I'm not mentally ill. I'm mentally stable. And when I know that all my rights are being violated, I'm mentally stable enough to record and keep the evidence to prove otherwise. You guys didn't even check me in, which I have the recordings of saying, "Oh, well, that's totally out of procedure." No shit. You guys, at one point, as you're discussing all my private information, you left the door open where even my private clients stopped by and say, "Hey, Trent, how you doing?" Even showed the tattoo I did. You had a patient across the hallway, door open, the one that was doing her toenails, hear all the interaction. You violated all of my privacy. You violated all of my civil rights. But hey, I've discussed that till the dogs come home. But Andrew, buddy, now let's get you some edumacation. Okay. Moving on, it then says, during the session, Trent was encouraged to express his thoughts and feelings regarding the current situation. Trent was accompanied by a significant other throughout the session with his consent. Absolutely. I mean, she slept with her head on my lap. It gets better, because Ashley had actually just told them not long before that I said I would kill her if she gave up the God code. But yet she's sleeping on my lap in a room. Anyway, yeah. But Trent appeared to be experiencing grandiose delusions. Andrew, who in the hell gives you the right to even judge whether or not my thoughts are grandiose delusions? How do you know whether or not they're true? You have zero proof. You didn't even know what it was at this point. But yet you feel you have the authority enough to make assumptions and to judge me. Poor training. Stating that he is famous. Okay, dude, you lied. In red, you straight up lied. I did not say that I was famous. I said that I was working on a documentary to help the world find its consciousness. You straight up lied, dude. You might think, "Oh, well, that wasn't technically." It's technically a lie. It's not true. You're a professional deciding the fate of somebody, and you lack integrity because you lied in my file that started the perpetual domino effect. Oh, and according to the documentary, must be completed by May 19th. Okay, what the hell's that got to do with shit? And it's pure truth, right? Okay, Trent said he's discovered a way to change his brain so that he thinks differently and now is in perfect balance. Okay, that is positive. That is 100% true. Okay. You know, right then and there, you should have been like, why are you as a counselor there to even speak with me? Especially when I asked you, why am I here? I didn't request this. This isn't approved. But you were so obsessed in defining the negative. I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry your life is so miserable that you can't find the positive and see it right in front of you, especially when a very peaceful, loving person sitting in front of you, having his significant other sleep on his lap, you weren't even awake enough to realize how beautiful of a situation that was. But Trent said the information that someday, Trent said he has information that will someday lead to typo, dude. 48 million in gold. Well, no shit, dude. Look online. There is coordinates. It's kind of a code that is out there. Anybody can find it. That has the coordinates to where 48 million in gold is buried. And I know how to decipher the codes, and I'm 3/4 of the way there. I haven't worked on it lately because I don't need to. I don't need the money. But how dare you imply that I'm not doing that? You don't know. You have no clue. Isn't it funny how the camera keeps zooming in and out, even though not a lot's changing in my motion? But Trent said that he has blah blah blah. Trent reported that he is working on giving away his worldly possessions so that he can go global. Okay, exaggeration, dude. Those are not the words that I used. You know, you might do like I do. When any conversation is going on that truly has the potential to affect somebody's life, I record it 100% by 2 different modes so that I cannot create a lie, or so that nobody else can create a lie like you have. Why would you not record? So that when you're back at your office writing the report, deciding my fate, so that you use the exact words that a client uses. That makes perfect sense. That's what prevents you from getting all your malpractice lawsuits that are potentially on their way. Why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't Good Samaritan Emergency Room, why wouldn't Mary's Peak Physicians utilize the 2 overhead cameras that were in the mental health ward, emergency room, anyway, figure that out. Why would you not have those on recording? That way it would prevent you from potentially creating a lie in my file. I was smart enough, I was awake enough to create a file that proves the truth. Why were you not awake or, smart enough to do the same thing? Something tells me you probably did. You're just cowardly and hiding behind your fear because you know everything I've said is 100% true. Then we move on to Trent denied suicidal and denied homicidal tendencies. It's in orange. Dude, that should have been bing. A light bulb should have went off in your head that you have no authority. You have no reason to even talk to me any further. What is your purpose? What are you trying to accomplish when you know I would not hurt myself or hurt anybody else? What gives you the authority to judge me any further? Nothing other than your fear of covering your ass, which you did a really poor job of. Then Trent does appear to be experiencing hypomania and grandiose delusions. Trent's information she knows about God. Oh, whoa. Yeah. Dude, more typo. Oh. Trent, significant other, approached blah, 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 outside the room and reported that he said he would kill her if she revealed the information about the God code. Despite concerning reports, Trent does not presently meet criteria for a hold. Dude, you said that my significant other said I would kill her if I gave away the God code, but I gave it to you. So if I gave it to you and you knew or you believed that I said I would kill her if she gave it away, why would you not think I'm homicidal if you thought it was true? Would you not be in malpractice right there to protect this innocent significant other? You didn't believe it. You knew it wasn't true. You knew I wasn't a threat. You knew I was at peace, that I wasn't going to harm anybody. But instead, you felt you had the authority and the right to keep judging me and destroy my life. Wow, dude. You must feel you're pretty cool. Moving on. Psychiatric hospitalization history. Not applicable. True. Never had any mental health issues. Never even spoke to a counselor before. Haven't needed to. Zero PTSD. None of this. Mental health diagnosis. Treatment. Family history. Blah, blah, blah. You feel you have the right to diagnose me with hypomania. You don't know shit about me. You don't know my life. You don't know my truths. You don't know any of it. So how can your feeble mind say I'm experiencing hypomania when you don't know shit? It's because your brain is obsessing on the negative, pal, because unfortunately you have gone through a tremendous amount of negativity in your life for you to be in the position you're in. I can help you if you want help. Just send me an email. I won't even talk about it on my documentary. I won't even expose you. Because unlike you, I believe in confidentiality between a patient and a counselor. I believe in only obsessing on the positive and putting to rest the negative. I really could help you, and through you, I could help a ton of people. Think about it. Don't want any money. I don't want nothing from you. All I want to do is help, but you guys have heard that a lot. Okay, so then it goes to trauma history. NA, unapplicable. Housing, stable housed, paid off home. That should have been, a trigger for you to recognize that, hey, something doesn't seem right here. Then family system or support system. You said family. Freaking lie, dude. Stop and think. My family was the one that illegally was going behind my back and forcing the mental health assessment. Why could you not step back and realize that's the furthest thing from support system? That's your enemy. Work, unknown. You don't even know what I do, for work. Don't care. Because you felt that's unimportant. You didn't realize that I'm a holistic tattoo artist that gives love at incredibly low rates to everybody. But that didn't matter to you because you're a professional. You got the power of God within you to decide people's fate. Education, unknown. Yeah, dude, that was a major screw up too. Before you decided to comment or give your opinion on me, you didn't even know that I was educated similar to how you are. Dude, wake up. Legal issues. You don't know. But yet, you felt you had enough information to say I was experiencing grandiose delusions and hypomania. You were unqualified, man. Plain and simple. You didn't even stop to take the time before you wrote your report to even figure out what full spectrum consciousness was. Not good, man. Really step back and realize how you are playing with a loaded gun and you are pulling your trigger with your eyes closed. That is scary. Now think backwards on how many people you have interacted with, how many people you have harmed by obsessing on the negative instead of taking the time to find the positive, to reassure them of all the positive in their life. Oh, Andrew Sheldon, my friend, reevaluate your course in life. Not just this isn't about me busting your balls for how you harmed me. You know? It's not. This is me waking you up and getting you to recognize that you are dangerous. Until you start only accepting the positive and teaching people how to only accept the positive, you are literally harming people. And feasibly, in regards to your license, you're kind of criminally negligent when you don't even take the time enough to listen to your client and realize what full spectrum conscious is before you even spoke with any further with me. I'm sorry that I have to wake you up and have the entire world be able to see it. But guess what, pal? That is the only way you're going to wake up. Because your ego, your stature, your clout, you feel you're God. You feel you have a right to say how people should be viewed by society. That's sad, brother. You know, when we spoke twice. You know, the second time when I went in, you know, handcuffed myself, wearing my body armor to prove to everybody that I am no threat to anybody. You came in, even though you put in your report your diagnosis of me, your opinion of me, without any of the positive. You know, why didn't you say, oh, Trent has some pretty good insights. You know, Trent, you know, your way of thinking, there is some truth to it. Oh, let's go to the second page of your report from March 5th. Then it goes into substance abuse disorder. No history of substance abuse. But, brother, look at the doctor's diagnosis from the same. He put in the file drug abuse. But don't worry, that's not on you. That's on him because he's malpracticing. Because I have medical marijuana. I did not even state how much I had been using. They did not even take a urinalysis. That's kind of humorous, isn't it? But we'll get into that, doctor. So, no history of substance abuse. Gambling concerns, none. Most recent urinalysis results, not applicable. Right there, people. Okay, first off, You cannot do a mental health assessment without finding out whether or not a person is on drugs. You cannot find out whether or not a person's on drugs without at least taking your analysis. Stumble, 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 people. The great thing is, I have your words proving that I'm right. But clear back in the beginning of the documentary, one of the first things I say is, my proof is in your evidence. But unfortunately, you didn't even love yourself enough to listen. All right. Moving on. Risk assessment, danger of self. No indication, denies. Columbia Suicide Severity Rating Scale, blah, blah, blah. Last contact, calculated, blah, blah, blah. No risk indicated. Oh, and just so you guys, I don't know if you were able to stop it and read all of this. Boy, there we go. You know, I've had to do all the work so the professionals can even realize how much they screwed up within their own job. Okay, calculated risk score. No risk indicated. Columbia Suicide Severity Rating. Denies suicide intent or plan. No safety concerns. Danger to others. You frickin' lied, dude. You said I threat to harm others. You used another person's lie to you and used it as if it was my own words. Huge malpractice, dude. Honestly, it makes me want to say, grow up. This is the shit you learned back in grade school. That you don't take what somebody else says unless the person says it themselves, right? Once again, you lied in my file. Shame on you. You caused me harm. Continuing on. Homicidal. Yeah, boy. Passive ideation. Don't even know what that means. Let's see. Comments. Reported told significant other that he would have to kill her if she reveals secret information. Dude, you changed your story again. You frickin' lied. The page prior you said if I gave away the God code. Now you're saying secret information. You are not even awake enough to know that you keep telling lies in your own report. What the heck, man? What gives you the right to do that? Nothing. Then, protective factors. Resources available to the client might migrate above risks. Evidence of resilience. Bing! Appearance. Appropriate for circumstances. Bing! General health. In general, good health. Bing! Eye contact. Good. Bing! Motor activity. Unremarkable. I don't know what the hell that means. But still, that's not negative. Speech is unremarkable. Again, not negative. Effect is full range. Bing! Reported mood is neutral. Empathetic. Bing! Thought of content has delusions. How in the world do you know if they're delusions? How in the world do you know if what I'm saying's true? You have nothing in the world to prove that what I'm saying is not true. I have everything to prove what I am saying is true. So what gives you the right to lie in my file and say I'm having delusions? Nothing. Plain and simple, nothing. Okay. Delusions include grandiosis. Okay, bud, where's your proof? that these are grandiose delusions. I have proof that they're reality. You lied again. Okay, attention is alert. Bing. Demeanor is appropriate for situation. Bing. Insight is limited. You didn't even research what full spectrum consciousness is, but yet you're judging me. And you're saying my insight is limited, but yet as I talked to you, you kept saying, yeah, that makes sense. So in all actuality, were you not giving a report on yourself versus actually giving a report on me? I can prove that to be true. And I think you're starting to realize I'm right. Okay. Insight limited. Dude, how can you say my insight is limited when I even told you the God code? Recognize the negative, find the positive, get the negative to recognize itself, and everything becomes positive. You said you'd never thought of it that way, but that makes perfect sense. Insight is limited. You lied about me, dude. In all actuality, you were talking about yourself. You were projecting your own mental illnesses on me. It's black and white. And as you'll see as I go through this, that's the way it is over and over. Orientation. Fully oriented. Bing! Memory. Grossly intact. Bing! Symptoms. Manic symptoms. You're not even qualified to say that. Decreased need for sleep. Hello, wake up. Full spectrum consciousness. There again, you're not even qualified to have an opinion. Elevated mood. I'm one with my God, so of course my mood is elevated. Grandiosity. Unqualified to even make that opinion. You have no basis. More talkative, pressured. Racing thoughts. Well, yeah, I'm using more of my brain than you are. So of course you're going to think that I have racing thoughts or talkative. Well, the talkative and pressured, dude, you knew I was in there being forced to take a mental health assessment that I did not approve of. So of course I'm going to feel pressured and extra talkative because I needed the world to know that this was bullshit and this wasn't true. But yet, you were so in such an unhealthy mental state, you couldn't recognize all the positivity that I was saying. And you're a crisis counselor. Metaphorically speaking, you're the one to pull the loaded gun out of someone's mouth. But yet, all you did was obsess on the negative. So in essence, if I was suicidal, you would have pulled the trigger. It's true, man. Step back and realize that the whole mental health industry is ass backwards. Instead of promoting every ounce of positivity in life, you guys are obsessing on the negativity. But speaking of which, I know that the population of the world obsesses on the negativity. Therefore, since I have been, speaking for however long now, an hour, I will stop this video because I know most of you can't handle keeping your attention past maybe 15 minutes. So, Andrew Sheldon, bud, take some mental health time off before you end up like the head mental health counselor of Benton County, because I don't want you to do what she did. step back and reflect. Realize that all this schooling that you've had is based off statistics. Mental health industry is based off of statistics. You know, psychology is hands down, because you guys can't predict the future. You guys don't even know how psychotropic drugs are going to affect each individual's brain. The funny thing is, I do. I mean, if you've taken the time to watch my documentary, you've already realized that I have predicted the future. I mean, simply, why do you think that I bragged up doctors and counselors and police in the very beginning of my documentary? Because I knew you guys were going to do this. And you were so asleep, you weren't even realizing what was going on in front of you. But yet, you decide the fate of people in this world. Andrew, I'm sorry that I had to get you to recognize your negative. I love you, brother. Like I said, I feel you have a good soul. But your illusion needs to purge all the negativity, and you need to start obsessing on all the positivity instead. So please, my friend, step back. Please bypass all the fear. I will not sue you if you have the courage to just come forward and say, shit, you're right. I'm sorry. And here I am on YouTube telling the world, I will not sue Andrew Sheldon if he comes forward and just admits he's wrong. Because guess what? Everything becomes positive at that point. And from that point forward, he's truly going to be helping people instead of obsessing on the negative. But, Andrew, you have the right to choose. You know, you can do as you choose, and there's nothing I can do about that. Therefore, I still love you, and I hope that someday we're able to see each other and maybe you just shake my hand and say, hey, sorry, man. If you do, you'll probably see a tear run down my face, and I'll just want to give you a big hug, because it will warm my heart that the quality of your life is actually going to get better. And by doing that, the quality of every single person you talk to is going to get better. Deep. Pure truth. My next video that I'll be posting Dana Savindesen, however that's pronounced. Dana, you and I got some things to discuss, and you know we do. And Dana, by the way, I kept referring to the little girl. You believed her and used that to destroy my life. And I knew the whole time what you were thinking. The whole time you were thinking, wait a minute, Nancy Brady, the prior attorney, is the one you'd been corresponding with. You thought I didn't know who it was. Just because I called her a little girl? Truth of the matter is, Nancy Brady's brain stopped maturing emotionally when her mother passed when she was in 8th grade. So Nancy Brady's mental health is that of a little girl. And you did not even realize what was happening in front of your face. I was getting the information out of you I needed by letting you hide behind your fear and not look at the facts that I was telling the truth. But we'll get into you. And the reason why I smile is because you're arrogant. I have you on body cam at the police department. Read the comments of that video. Everybody else is starting to see it too. You had no remorse. Even though I pointed out you straight up lied over and over again in your report, you still felt that you were above me. You still felt that you had the right to judge me. I wonder who your God is. I would like to hear about it, because how does your God approve you judging? Especially someone as loving and caring as I, especially of someone who just got done risking my existence in Ukraine for people that couldn't defend themselves. Man, that's a God I would be scared of, if that God feels that it's okay for you doing what you're doing and lying and destroying my life. But hey, I love you too, and we're gonna get you cleared up. Anyway, I think I will eat some. I'll reconstitute some dehydrated scrambled eggs, and that's what I'm gonna have for breakfast before I go pick up my 18,000 kilowatts worth of solar panel that I'll be putting on the trailer so that I can give energy. Now you think about positive energy to the homeless. Wow, I hadn't even thought about that. All I've been acting out of is the knowing. I've known that there's a tremendous need for my urgency, and I've known that most important is I need power off the grid. There's a good chance that maybe we're going to lose our grid due to Russian conflict and Chinese conflict. I don't know if that's necessarily it. I've even thought about the term, let there be light, and there it was. I don't think I'm God. I'm one with God. You have the potential to be one with your God. We are all one. We're a direct image of. So yeah, technically, all of us are God once we wake up and gain our consciousness. And that's beautiful and amazing. There's nothing negative about that. And that's not a grandiose delusion. Read your stinking Bibles. They all tell you that. Anyway, love you guys. Have a great day, and I'll probably talk to you again today.